Hi, I'm Deja Lett with Keller Realty and the Top Homes Group, and I'm here with one of my clients, Tyler. It's a success story on his first time buying a home and the process that we went through.
So my name's Tyler Catterett. I lived here in Saco most of my life. I went to school in Vermont for a couple of years for college and then came back probably about 10 years ago now. Currently work over at Maine Health as a manager on the marketing team there, but I have an extensive work history in the area. I was in local news for about 5 years post-college. Got to meet a lot of cool people, see a lot of cool places across the state doing that, and then spent some time in corporate America in various roles, kind of went the marketing route. It was great because I still get to talk to people every day, just not with the crazy hours, the schedule that's involved with TV sometimes. So I've done a great shift that way, and at this point in time, I'm living locally and close to family and friends, which is great. With regard to the real estate market, I started looking, kind of getting interested in looking in roughly 2019, 2020, which of course was just a crazy time. I think as far as challenges go, it's a lot of what people that were starting to look at that time dealt with, but just, inventory was tough to come by, especially in the price range I was looking at, just being a single buyer at the time, not being able to get in and see places, or those that I could get in and see, it was like they were off the market so much more quickly than I could ever put an offer in on, or seriously entertain putting an offer in on. I think you just feel like you're behind the 8 ball, even though you're not necessarily behind the 8 ball. It was just, it was kind of a discouraging process at times, I think, before starting to work with Deja, just because it was, you just felt like you were missing out on things that were popping up, and tough to keep a thumb on the market when it's moving that fast. It's a great example of the fact that word of mouth is such a big part of this business, I think. I had a good friend who ended up working with Deja and had a great experience. This was right around 2019, I think. Just had nothing but great things to say, said that she was just so on top of it, made it a very easy process for them. I was like, okay, that sounds pretty good. I could do that too. I'd love to have that opportunity. So reached out, and I had known Deja for years before, not in the real estate world, but just living in Saco and going to school with her sons, and so had that connection, and it was really pretty seamless, and she was super willing to take me on board. I think she had a very full client book at that point, but had no problem squeezing me in there, and it really was a pretty easy move from there. And again, just speaks volumes about the nature of this work, how she goes about it, the fact that the networking piece is such a big part. Deja was incredible for me in terms of being responsive, walking me through the process, had a ton of questions. I know everybody does when they go through it, but especially first time for me, and being a single buyer, doing it on my own, felt like I had a lot of questions. She was super patient, really good about giving me the full picture, and really, in the best way possible, aggressive on my behalf in terms of being able to get me into places to tour them, or at least putting them on my radar to consider and think about. Just super helpful in that regard. And I always was really impressed with the fact that I think you look at what I was in the market for at that time, which wasn't a huge price range by any means, but I always felt like, and I've told a lot of people this, that I got the same level of service, the same level of responsiveness, the same level of engagement as somebody that would be looking at a multi-million-dollar home or, a bigger property. I was more in the condo, townhouse type range, which is super great, obviously, but never felt like it was a matter of kind of being prioritized based on interest or money or anything like that. It was just super on top of it, and I always felt like I was the #1 priority when I was talking about it. I think that the best example of a whoa moment for me is how I ended up in my current place, to be honest, because again, it was 2020, pandemic times. Even with the best agent or with the best team in place, it was still a tough market, especially around here. Just a lot of people, things were going for way over asking, just very competitive. So we had been at it for, I think, between 6 months and a year, and had some good leads, some things that had fallen through. It's par for the course when you're, looking, especially I think in Southern Maine at that time and even now. But, Deja was just like, keep at it, we'll keep on top of it. Was super good about sending letters to condo associations that were of interest to me, just to say, hey, want to put it on your radar, make that direct connection. And she was able to get me an in over at my current now condo here in Saco Academy Place. She had a connection with somebody who was looking to sell over there, was able to get me in, took a tour, didn't want to go to market. He was kind of on this streamlined trajectory to get out of there. So it was really one of those right place, right time situations. I don't know if not for that connection and that opportunity that she presented, I would have been able to have gotten in there or even have known about it. So I'm very grateful for that, because that really just started the domino effect of me being able to start the process of buying, ultimately get in there. I've been in there 3.5 years now, give or take. And it's just a great spot. And again, I really can't stress this enough, and I've said this a lot over the past 3 years, that Deja was so good about, checking in, sending over things in my price range that fit what I was looking for. I just know that not every real estate agent, not every realtor is doing that. And even those that are, I still felt like she was just really invested in making sure that I got into a place that worked for me, that was the right fit. Can't say enough about how good the process was. Her and I were just talking real quick about the process once you go under contract, and how it, you kind of have this lull, and then it just all, full steam ahead. And there's a lot involved with that. Anybody that's gone under contract, I'm sure, knows there's just a lot of moving parts. Even with what you think is going to be a pretty straightforward situation, there's always things that pop up. Again, really good about answering questions, being on top of things that I didn't even know that I needed to be on top of for me, and helping me with that. And it was a really smooth process, all said and done. A lot of signatures, a lot of paperwork, but it was to be expected, and went really well. And I just remember the day that we did at the closing, going over, and you pop the champagne bottle, and you see it empty. By the way, you see the place empty, and you're like, okay, now I want to, what do I do here? Do I paint this? It was super exciting. Always been a dream of mine. I knew that I kind of wanted to come back here and eventually someday probably raise a family here. And I saw that buying a house would be a big step toward that. And it was just a super great experience, and a very memorable day, I will say. Very hot day like today, actually. I have told a lot of folks about how easy it was, really, how seamless it was. I tried to do the networking, spreading the word, connecting Deja with folks, family and friends who I know who are in the market for a house or a property in the area, just knowing full well that she really did right by me. And I continue to chat with her, continue to work with her. I think we're looking at this point now to maybe make a move to our next place. Me and my fiance now are looking to make that jump in the next year or so. And of course, the market is crazy kind of for some different reasons than it was 4 or 5 years ago, but nonetheless, it's still kind of hectic. So I fully trust that she has a pulse on what's going on. We are in really good hands. And I think I've tried to communicate that to other folks who are in a similar situation. So it's really, again, just that networking piece, I think, just trying to pass that on and make those connections for folks. I think it's 100% worth someone's time to have a conversation with her. I think that we'll find through that conversation that she knows the area really well. I mean, the experience level of buying and selling in this area for decades now, I think really benefits her with just lay of the land, the knowledge of how everything is around here, and having those inroads and connections to be able to find places much quicker than they would pop onto the market typically. I think it's worth that initial conversation, and I think a lot of folks will find that she will, again, be super responsive, on the ball, and do right by you in terms of staying active in the market and getting you into whatever you're looking, whether it's a condo, townhouse, single family home, right on up through. I'm sure it spans the gamut what she's helped sell and buy. So I think that's what I would tell folks that are in that. I think if somebody is ready to take that step, it's a big step, but if you're ready to start looking and start that process, I highly recommend reaching out to Deja, getting the ball rolling as far as that's concerned. Easy to do too. I know that we have the link right around this video. You can just click on that. And I know firsthand she's very responsive, so no doubt that she will get back to you real quick. Highly recommend.
If you want results similar to what Tyler's had, click the link around this video and book your call with me today.